My mother figure. Let's read Romans 16:13. And I'm going to read it from the Contemporary English Version. And it says, "Greet Rufus, that special servant of the Lord, and greet his mother, who has been like a mother to me." See, in this chapter in Romans, Paul has been greeting a number of people that were important to him at Rome. And so in this verse that we read, it's Rufus and his mother. Rufus's mother had been like a mother to Paul, a mother figure. Now, there are a number of mother figures today. You have to think about it. There are a number of women who have been like a mother to children other than their own. There are a number of children that may not even know their mother, but they have a mother figure, someone who stepped in that place as their mother. Okay? There are a number of great mothers that have helped shape the world by the way they raised their children and by the way they had influence on other children. Being a mother figure. So, what's necessary for a mother or a mother figure? I want to take the word mother and discover some qualities I think that are necessary. The first one is this: a mother makes a commitment. Makes a commitment. Being a mother is not an easy job. She has to make a commitment to being that mother. Matthew 6:33 says, "But more than anything else, put God's work first and do what He wants. Then the other things will be yours as well." You see, the first commitment a mother has to make is to God. But then the next commitment is to her family. Let me share a story with you about a mother who makes an important commitment. Lieutenant Glenda Stewart, the 3rd Army Deputy Director of Intelligence, and Chris Stewart Blakely, a 2010 graduate from the United States Military Academy at West Point, New York. Chris decided at an early age he would follow in his mother's footsteps. He dedicated his life to the Army after graduating from high school. He was currently attending the Infantry Officer Basic Course at Fort Benning, Georgia, and one day he wants to be the chairman of the Joint Chiefs of Staff. Where did he get this dedication and motivation? His mother. "Seeing my mom as an officer in my early years made my decision an easy one," said Chris. "That's when I decided to start gearing my life to become an Army officer." Stewart, a native of Dallas, Texas, attended college at Prairie View A&M located in Texas. She won a scholarship while in college and decided to join the Army to serve her country. Stewart wanted to serve only until she attained the rank of captain and move on. That wouldn't be easy because she was a single parent with a 2-year-old. His father had passed away. She remained committed and completed the officer basic course. She was then immediately deployed to Kuwait in support of Operation Desert Storm. Stewart's mother kept her son while she fulfilled her military duties. "I knew my mom would take care of Chris," said Stewart, "but the fears of being separated and not knowing when I will return were very difficult." But during her deployment, she had to learn to balance being a mom and being a new officer in the middle of a war zone. She was learning how to be a leader in the sands of Saudi Arabia while learning to be a mother separated from her child for the first time. During her deployment, She missed her son's second birthday. Through it all, she remained committed to her son. I wrote letters to him as often as I could, said Stewart. I even snuck a few morale calls with the help of a co-worker. She couldn't do it on her own. My mom and my sisters helped a lot, said Stewart. I relied heavily on my family and my faith in God. And through it all, she maintained her commitment to both her service and her families. 20 years later, she's still stationed in Kuwait. After meeting her personal and professional challenges head on, she now ensures the Third Army meets its challenges in the same manner. Even with things like email and Zoom and all the different communication technologies, she still takes the time to write handwritten letters to her son. Her goals have changed to retiring as a colonel or brigadier general. She wants to continue her career, but looks forward to the day she can retire. But even in retirement, her commitment to her son will not waver. She says she likes both Texas and Kansas, but will live near her son for support if needed. Stewart's commitment during her 20 years of service to her son and her career is evident. Her mother, Teresa Stewart, couldn't be prouder. It was not easy getting to where she is, said Teresa, but one thing is certain. Her heart is in everything she does, and that's why I know that both Chris and the Army are in good hands with her. So, there's a mother that's made a commitment. Made a commitment with her faith, made a commitment to her country, but very committed to her son. The second letter in mother is O, and when I think about the letter O, I think about others. 1 Corinthians 10:24 says we should think about others and not about ourselves. And Philippians 2:3 says don't be jealous or proud, but be humble and consider others more important than yourselves. We've all heard of the late Desmond Tutu, a timeless activist, social justice campaigner, who in Nelson Mandela's words symbolizes the voice of the voiceless. He was born in 1931, politicized at a very young age, and became aware of the destruction of hate and self-hate that racial injustice created. This teacher and lecturer, and later theologist and Archbishop of Cape Town, realized his time had come when in 1975 he became the Anglican Dean in Johannesburg. He now had a platform not readily available to blacks because most leaders were in chains or in exiles, and he did step in the breach. Over the next 20 years, Tutu worked tirelessly and vocally against apartheid because he said, I never doubted we'd be free one day. And that day came, April 27, 1994, when at the age of 63, Tutu voted for the very first time. Along the way, his local and international reputation had grown, and he had received many other accolades in recognition of his crusade for freedom and human rights. And in May 10th, Tutu introduced Nelson Mandela to South Africans and the world as the country's first black democratically elected president. A year later, he was appointed chairman of the Truth and Reconciliation Commission. And when he received that appointment, this is what he said: I pray that I can be like my mother in her concern for others. I pray that I can be like my mother in her concern for others. Mothers do think about others quite a bit. Then the letter T is for teacher. Teacher. Ray Romano, you know him from television, said this: the more I go through parenting, the more I say I owe my mother an apology. Chuck Swindoll said several years ago, someone interviewed the artist Marc Chagall for a PBS program. The young arty interviewer started the session with a question about influences. But his question was very long and so involved, and it exhibited his own learning along the way, giving everybody a lecture on the nature of influences on the artist. When the young interviewer finally gave Chagall a chance to speak, this is what he said. I know of no more permanent imprint on a life than the one made by mothers. There would have never been an Isaac without a Sarah, a Moses without a Jochebed, a Samuel without a Hannah, a John without an Elizabeth, a Timothy without a Eunice, or a John Mark without a Mary. A mother's influence is so great that we model it even when we don't realize it, and we return to it often in the surprise of others. Proverbs 31:26 says, her words are sensible, and her advice is thoughtful. And Titus 2:3-5 says, tell the older women to behave as those who love the Lord. They should not gossip about others or be slaves of wine. They must teach what is proper. So the younger women will be loving wives and mothers. Each of the younger women must be sensible and kind as to a good homemaker who puts her own husband first. Then no one can say insulting things about God's message. So, ladies, all of you are teachers. The older women teach the younger women. The younger women teach their children. Everybody is a teacher. Everybody's a mentor. Everybody's a mother figure to somebody. Then we come to the letter H. And H stands for heart. Listen to this poem called A Mother's Heart. Precious mother's heart, holding dear her children. Oh, the joy she imparts, encourage, motivating them. Praying mother's heart, powerful on her knees. Listen and hear her start to render to God her pleas. Pure and a true heart, from which flows deep intercession for her family that God should thwart the enemy's evil intentions. Patient mother's heart, beautiful and blessed, love and compassion fills every part, comforting those distressed. Peace-loving heart, gentle and generous, caring, sharing her act, virtuous and vivacious. Preaching from her heart, telling her children of Christ, choose Him and be His stalwart, she admonishes day and night. Praise fills my heart, thanking God for her, gift that will never depart, forever there'll be no other. Priceless mother's heart, meek and mild, taught me to be wise and smart. Thank you, Mom. I'm glad I'm your child. Talking about her heart. Proverbs 31:11. Her husband depends on her, and she never lets him down. Verse 12, she is good to him every day of her life. And then picking up at verse 28, her children praise her, and with great pride her husband says, there are many good women, but you are the best. Charm can be deceiving, and beauty fades away, but a woman who honors the Lord deserves to be praised. And now we come to the letter E, example. Example. Carolyn Mahaney wrote this. Don't you ever do that again. Janelle scolded Patty Lynn in the severest tone her sweet little voice could muster. Patty Lynn or Lynn Patty as she was also known, was her Cabbage Patch doll. I listened from around the corner as the reprimand continued in an angry voice. How many times do I have to tell you that is not acceptable to disobey, Mommy? I am very, very upset with you. That was your last warning, and now you have to be punished. Do you hear me? I was poised to storm into the room for her unkind speech, but a single thought halted my well-timed raid. She's imitating me. My daughter was only copying an earlier performance of mine when I'd angrily corrected her for emptying out the linen closet. If she was guilty, then I would have to arrest myself first. I truly understood the impact of our example should bring us to our knees. Elisabeth Elliot soberly considers the fact that the examples of parents for good or ill as an influence far more profound than can be measured. Appropriately did J.C. Ryle warn, your children will seldom learn habits which they see you despise or walk in paths which you yourself do not walk. She that preaches to her children what she does not practice is a work that will never go forward. Philippians 3:17. My friends, I want you to follow my example and learn from others who closely follow the example we set for you. And then refuge. For the letter R, refuge. Webster defines refuge this way: a shelter or protection from a danger or distress, a place that provides shelter or protection, or something to which one has recourse in difficulty. That describes a mother. Because when a child needs comfort and compassion, where do they go? To their mother. Matthew 23:37, Jesus said, Jerusalem, Jerusalem, your people have killed the prophets and have stoned the messengers who were sent to you. I have often wanted to gather your people as a hen gathers her chicks under her wings, but you wouldn't let me. That word hen there represents the whole idea of motherhood. A mother always wants to protect. Years ago, a young mother was making her way across the hills of South Wales, carrying her tiny baby in her arms, and when she was overtaken by a blizzard, she never reached her destination. And when the blizzard had subsided, her body was found by searchers beneath a mound of snow. But they discovered that before her death, she had taken off her outer clothing and wrapped her baby. When they unwrapped the child, to their great surprise, they found he was alive and well. She had mounted her body over his and had given her life for her child. David Lord George, grown to manhood, became the Prime Minister of Great Britain and without a doubt one of England's greatest statesmen. What if his mother had not protected him? How would the course of English history have changed? So as we think about this word mother, and we think about these stories that I've shared with you today that demonstrate the word mother, and the Bible passages that have demonstrated the word mother, I want to conclude with this thought, what a mother means. Mother is such a simple word, but to me there's meaning seldom heard. For everything I am today my mother's love showed me the way. I'll love my mother all my days for enriching my life in so many ways. She set me straight and then set me free, and that's what the word mother means to me. Thanks for being a wonderful mother, Mom. So, mothers, we've focused on mothers. And we do that, and I mentioned it earlier when we were having breakfast. The Bible commands us to honor our mothers. In fact, that was the first commandment with a promise, that you might live long in the land. We need to honor our mothers. And in honoring our mothers, we're also honoring Jesus because He commanded us to do it. But as we think about it, as much as we love our mothers, we need to love Jesus more. Now, He's the one that blessed us with mothers. But He blessed us with a chance for eternal life. If you're here this morning and you don't know Jesus as Lord and Savior, we're going to stand and sing, Lord.